Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the European Racing Series Grand Prix here in Japan. I'm Ben Raggy McConnell, and joining me on the caster's desk is the incredibly talented Jess Games. How you doing?
I am doing good today, Ben. Japan is one of my favourite tracks on the calendar, so I'm very looking forward to this race tonight. With 14 drivers on the grid, it should be a good one.
It should indeed. Some of the fastest drivers as well, actually, to note, as we have the likes of Hypers, Hazard, Zerd, you've got Etnic Turn here as well, Beaker to some extent, and i7 as well. I think it's going to be a really close match qualifying series. And I'm going to ask you straight off the bat, since you know most of the drivers here, what's your top 3 prediction going to be?
Oh, it's going to be a tough one. There are a lot, like I said, there's a lot of fast drivers, but I have seen in the past few races in other leagues, Hyper's putting a very good performance, but I'm not going to put him as a race winner. I think I'm going to put, because I think I'm going to put Brownie P1, Hyper's P2, because Brownie was very consistent in Russia last time about, and I'm going to put Nick Turn P3. That is my prediction. What about yours?
See, I want to do the same. I want to do as bold a prediction as what you just did, but I don't know. Hypers is just so fast at the minute. Everyone else is struggling to keep up with him, so I am going to put in P1. P2, and Nick Turn is quick. Zerd's quick. There's just so many. I think it's going to be really close. I think any of these drivers could easily take P1, P2. So Hypers P1. And Nick Turn P2 and i7 P3. That's what I'm going with. I think it's hard to really, like I say, look away from those drivers. i7 is somebody who has got a lot of pace and he's got a lot of potential. His qualifying pace, it leaves a lot to be desired, I think, sometimes. His race pace is where he comes to fruition, and I think that's why we're going to be seeing a lot of stuff coming out of i7 and coming into the race.
Yes, I've seen him race across other platforms as well. I'm not going to mention how I know him because otherwise I'll be a bit biased. I'm not going to say that, but he's insanely quick on the PC, and he could definitely be a dark horse. So I can understand why you chose him as well. As we've got 15 minutes left to go qualifying-ish, and we've got 3 tyres on offer, and it's a dry qualifying as you can see. And we've got supers, softs, and the mediums. I need to just check. There's a lot of people on the supers at the moment and the mediums as well, but nobody on the softs yet.
That's interesting. I do think that we're going to be seeing people qualify on the supers. They are actually really good tyres around this track. The difficulty you're going to have is the S's are really tight, and if you make a mistake in there, and if your tyres start to drop off a little bit, make even the slightest mistake, the S's will kill you. Make no mistake about it, they will destroy you. So you got to make sure that you are very clean, very tidy, and conservative on those tyres. If you don't, then you will be very much in the wall. I mean, I'm just looking at Hypers right now. He's out on the mediums, so obviously he's not going to be setting the fastest lap on these mediums. He's literally just getting some time in, getting a feel for the track a little bit, shake off any pre-race jitters, and get yourself in a position where you can put a nice little cheeky lap time in, put a banker in, and then go again later on the faster tyre and just nail the rest of the grid.
Yes, because the medium tyres I found out from some other races in Japan is quite actually not a bad race tyre to begin with. Because it's not a good tyre to start the race on, because obviously you'll be starting at a lower position. But towards the middle of the race, when the softs and the supers start to die down, then that will be beneficial, and you can really gain some really valuable points in the session as well. So I think a lot of people just go to the mediums to the end, but we could see people go very, very bold, as Nick Turn has gone fastest so far, and Hyper's second place. So not a bad lap from Hypers on the mediums to get a feel of the track for his first race in the league.
No, definitely not. We have lost copy though. It was in Sector 3, saw a yellow flag pop up, but I didn't see anything happen. I was trying to have a little glance around, see if I could see any debris or any car or anything, but I can't see. I'm just on board now with Brownies. He's coming through the final chicane. I can imagine if it was anywhere, it probably would have been here somewhere. Maybe in the pit lane on the entry, but no, there is nothing. I don't know what happened then. He may have just retired in the pit lane, I assume, but Copy is not someone who's gained penalties. He's not He's not someone you ever look at and go, this guy is filthy, or if this guy gets caught up in accidents or anything like that. He's clean, he's conservative. He's not the fastest driver in the world, but he's definitely not someone you look at for penalties. So I can only assume that it was in fact a mistake that was made that caused him to be a DNF from the qualifying session.
That's a bit of a shame for Koppy, Koppy's always like the Mr. Consistent on most of these leagues, so he's got to find a lot to prove to try and make his way up the field. But Japan, since there's only 14 drivers, you can make up some good ground from the back anyway, so he's not in a very dangerous position. And one advantage is you can avoid the possible turn 1 chaos if you're at the back, because you're the front. You could get involved in some chaos, particularly if you're in the mid pack. So Koppy may have made a bold move to try and capitalise on anyone's mistakes. So yeah, he could be doing that, or he could have just bottled it. But we'll see anyway.
Yeah, and the other thing you gotta think about as well is that Nickturn and Koppy are really good teammates. They race with each other in almost every league they actually compete in, and they are teammates with each other as well. And one of the main things you can count on them for is towing. They tow each other on any track that they have the abilities to do it on. Obviously, most notably Belgium and Italy, for example. They tow each other on there quite a lot. Obviously, Nickturn's not going to have that. And Nickturn doesn't also have the issue of lap pace. It's mainly Koppy that we see having the benefit from the tow more than anything. And Nickturn does seem to pull him up a couple of places as a result of it. But let's not take anything away from Koppy. Remember, when his race is on, he is on fire and he can deliver. Now his race is going to have to be absolutely on, as he's going to start from the back of the grid down in P14, and he's going to have a lot of drivers in front of him he's going to need to pass.
Yes, and another guy that is currently on a lap is Juslav, who has just gone into 10th at the moment. Don't forget, the ones are in the top 10. They have to start their race on the tyre they set their fastest lap on, and the bottom half got free choice of tyre, so luckily he just set a lap time. And as you were saying about the tow, Japan can be a good place for a tow, especially towards 130 yards, towards a long straight just before you head the Casio Triangle. I've seen a lot of the time where one of the teammates slowed down, and the really fast guy was in front and trying to get a little bit more speed to try and gain some good time. And I could see Lemon and Brownie do that tonight, as I think they have both their teammates and they know each other quite well as well. So watch out for them as they go through 130 yards towards the end of this qualifying as well. So should be interesting for them, but it will be harder for people who don't have teammates tonight to or experienced teammates to know what will be the best place to tow at.
Yeah, I mean, towing in general is not something you can just easily do. The timing of it is an art. And I think that's, you see the drivers like Nickturn and Koppy, they make it look really simple, really easy. But I can, reassure you that it isn't. It takes, I've attempted it just the other day. It's so difficult to time, to get everything spot on and maximize the most speed out of it. But we are about to go on to a hot lap with Nickturn now. And do you want to take us through that, Jess?
Yeah, of course, as he goes through the start-finish straight, as he pops the DRS very, very quickly there to get the long run into turn 1. Like we said earlier, the S section is very tricky, so important to get right. He clips the left curb as he starts the long S section into turn 3, 4 and 5. As I've just seen a McLaren gone wide, but that didn't really affect his lap, so that is all good. As he goes towards the end of the S section now, going all the way to 4th and then going to the long left-hander as Dunlop curve. I see a lot of people bottle it there, and looks like he manages just fine as he could go for the right-hander into 6th gear, managing all the ERS he can here as he goes through the long bridge there, as he almost tried to save the car a little bit there, but luckily he got away just fine. He's going to get the tow a little bit from the Renault in front, which I'm not sure which Renault it is, but that's really going to help him maximise his lap. So maybe it's not going to disadvantage him at all, as he's going to go through sets 2 now and just going to the start of the spoon as Lemon has moved out of the way as he realised of what he's just done. As he's going to the long straight, going to really put the throttle here. It reminds me of Blanchimont in Belgium, where they start to put the throttle a little bit too much. All the power you need here going into this long 130R here. ERS quite high at the moment, as he in third at the moment. He is running out of fuel. So that is a corner cut, so I don't think it's going to be validated. No, it's not, as he goes into the pits.
Yeah, it's a big unfortunate situation. Nick Turn actually traditionally has struggled in Japan. The last race I commentated on him, it was the exit to the second half of Spoon. He actually lost the back end and binned it in the qualifying. Yeah, he'd already set the fastest lap time by that point, but it showed a real weakness in his driving abilities. And I think once we see Hypers change off of those medium tyres, I think we're going to see Nick Turn struggle. As we've seen Beaker struggle, oh, that's not the way to take the second Spoon. He knows it. He's going to be, I'm sure he's going to back out of that one. There's no way you're going to continue with it. There is still 8 minutes left of the session, so there's still plenty of time for Beaker to come into the pits and change his tyres and go again. But he needs to really figure that out. He needs to make sure that he doesn't do Spoon like that again. And I was literally just talking to him right before we got commentating here, and he was saying that he's not really a big fan of this track and he struggles, especially when it comes to his race pace. The tyres seem to fall away from him, so, you know, we've seen him to get some P2s a lot recently. I don't think the race, I don't even think the podium is going to be on the cards for him today.
Even though he was very consistent in Russia by taking a P2, he was very, very consistent there. He just doesn't like his track. It's not suited to him, mainly because I think it's mainly a wheel type of track, and it's taken a while to get used to already. So he's got to find it a lot of hard work. But P2 for now, it's very, very good. But we haven't seen what the other drivers are capable of. We haven't seen the likes of people on the medium such as Lemon and Hypers as well. They still got to set their lap time on the super soft tyres. And we could see a lot of these guys start on the super softs and then go onto the mediums at the end for their second stint. Or we could see people going soft to mediums. We have seen people do soft to supers, but that is probably literally impossible. So the likely strategies today will be either supers to mediums or soft to mediums. So probably we could see more people on the softs. A lot of people are just fitted onto the softs. We've got the likes of Zerd, i7 and Brownie going onto the soft as well, and Spicy in P13 not set a lap time yet. They've decided to set their next lap on the soft. So a lot more varying tyres for the remainder of this session.
Yeah, indeed, and you're right. The softs to supers or supers to softs, I mean, it is the ideal strategy if you can pull it off, but it's so difficult because of how demanding this track is. The S's means that the tyre wear is so harsh, and it obviously going from supers to softs just makes it really difficult in that respect. Supers to mediums, though, very easy to do. You can easily pull that off, and it's actually probably more consistent when it allows you to make a couple of mistakes and still be able to make it to the end of the race. So I think we'll be seeing a lot of drivers go for that super soft to mediums. The ones who are very confident in their abilities and their pace, they may try the super softs to softs, but I think the likes, at least the bottom half of the grid, they're definitely going to be looking to do the supers to mediums. And I think the way that Beaker's been driving around the session today, I think we're going to be seeing that strategy coming out of him.
Or maybe if he qualifies near the bottom, he may choose to go for the softs if he wants to improve on his tyre wear a little bit, which I won't be surprised. But looking at his lap performance now, looks like that he will be starting on the supers anyway, which is not bad for him anyway, as he's just got to get a little feel of the car. He's on his out lap at the moment. Quite a few people in the pits. There's only 5 minutes and 20 seconds left to go, so that they all have time to just get one lap in. But Japan is one of these tracks where you really got to go and find as late as possible as you can to get onto the track, as the track is evolving pretty much all the time. But don't go out too late, because otherwise we've seen a few occasions where they've gone out too late and come across the line and they didn't have time to send a lap in. And we got to watch out Spicy as well. He hasn't set a lap time yet, and I bet he's waiting for the best possible moment. But he's got a lot to gamble on because he hasn't set a lap time. So I would get on it now, find a clean lap time, and then slow down a little bit on his in lap, and then get enough fuel to go out for one final lap. That's what I would do for Spicy, so he could just get a good lap in and not be disadvantaged at the back. But he might be on for the free choice of tyres. I think Beaker's going to go on his flyer, and so is his other teammate in the 4-cylinder who's currently sitting P7 right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's come out a bit too early, to be honest. I don't think he's done the right strategy of coming out now. We are in what I like to call the calm before the storm. This is the part now where the drivers will be sat in the pits, prepping himself for that final push. Oh, there's Zerd off the track. Yeah, I think ultimately that's this is a big mistake now. What Beaker's done is not the right situation to be in. You want to be in the pits waiting for the final thing, and he knows this stuff. He's the one who told me this yesterday for my own league race. So I don't know if he's just misjudged it or if he's just doing a lap to get the tyres warmed up or what, but he needs to get back in the pits, set on the fresh boots, and then go again. He can't allow himself to be stuck in this situation now. We'll see what time he does, but I also want to keep an eye out for i7-3.
Yep, he's currently sitting P11 at the moment, and he's going towards 130R. He will have time to set one final lap, I believe, unless we could dive it into the pits. We'll have to wait and see, but it will be a bit of a gamble as he goes past the Casio Triangle. Looking very clean when I jumped on board with him so far. He's on the soft compound of tyres for now. What lap time is he going to say? Is he going to improve? He does. P2, sensational lap for him on the soft tyres, and if he qualifies on the softs for the race, that's really going to benefit him, and he's retired for some weird reason. I don't know what happened there, but I think he's pretty happy with his lap. I'm guessing he wants to commit to that strategy.
Yeah, absolutely. Soft tyre, one lap, very quick lap, very happy with his performance. No reason for him to not do what he did. What is Beaker doing? He's running out of fuel. His fuel is red, his ERS is 0, he's cruising around the track, but he's going to struggle now. He's not going to have enough time. Even if he comes around the track, gets into the pits, he doesn't have enough time to make it now. I think Beaker's done. I don't think he can go any faster now. And that's. I mean, yes, he's P2 as it stands, but we're still waiting for those like Hypers, Lemon, Zerd. These are all quick drivers. Brownie, Spicy's not yet set time, but I suspect he's going to be up there. These are people who you expect to be up there in front of Beaker. I think Beaker has made a massive mistake, and I think he's going to drop right the way down. I reckon about P7, P8 territory.
Yes, we'll be a bit unfortunate for Beaker. I think he misjudged it, misjudged it a little bit, and don't forget also, I think he had an invalidated lap at the start, which didn't help matters at all. So that's not going to really work for his super soft tyres, as he's been on those super soft tyres for a very long time, but he might have decided to go on a different one to set his fastest lap, but that means you'll have to go out for a little bit shorter time than the other guys on the supers, which can really cost him. As interesting enough, I don't think Brownie's going to have the same issue, and so is Hyper's teammate, Duzlav. I don't think they're going to get in time, as Brownie just comes out of the pits now. But it is a 1 minute 25 lap. He could just about do it. We'll have to wait and see. But I think pretty much everyone else, apart from the likes of Beaker, will probably get their laps in time. It is the Storm, to be honest, as we like to call it now. They want to get their fast laps in. And we're seeing no mediums fitted at the moment. Everyone's either on the supers or the softs. I wonder which strategy will work out, which strategy will prevail. We'll just have to find out. And I was quite surprised Hypers is on the softs, and so is Lemon as well. So I think they just want to make sure their tyres last more than anything, so they can gain positions towards the end. And I think that's what I've seen Hyper do in the past, as he's got nothing to lose. He's joined midway through the session, as Lemon has retired. He's committed to that soft strategy as well. So it'll be interesting to see what Hypers can do, especially if he wants to get high up the grid, as he does just now in P4.
Yeah, it's P4. I mean, he's going again. You can see his car is very much set for going again mode. 126.775, not that great from him. I expected him to be up there, even in front of these, at least in front of Beaker's time. But no, he just seemed to struggle. I mean, 210 separating the two is, not the greatest situation to be in. It's not the worst, but Hazard's also on a flyer now. He's going through the S section. Where's Dennis? Dennis is off the track. That's not good news. Dennis will not be able to improve then. His qualifying time is over, so P8 is where he's going to stay at most. So we'll see how he does. Here comes Brownie also in the S section. He's trying to deliver a faster time. There's Spicy retiring after 2 laps. So he's outside of the top 10. Good news for him though is he does get to go for a strategy of his choice. And I think we'll be seeing him go into those medium compounds coming to the start of the race and potentially chuck himself on those supers at the end. But yeah, just going back to what you were saying about how Hypers is out there on the softs and Zerd obviously as well and i7 as well. That is the strategy. That is the key strategy. These are the drivers. If anyone was going to try the supers, the softs to the supers, then these are the guys that I would be pointing finger at and saying you should be able to do this. So they're looking like they're going to do that. Softs and mediums is also the alternative. but he surely would have wanted to start on the super soft if that was the case. As Duxby crosses the line, he goes P6 and Hypers improves. There you go. He's beat Beaker now. 126.356.
Nick Turn's about to cross the line as well. Can he improve on his pole lap? And he does, and he's the first person, the only person, to get into the 125. Sensational. We've got, I think, Dennis as well on a lap, but I don't think he's going to improve based on his issue he had coming towards the S section. I don't think anyone else on a lap. Brownie could potentially be, he's on a set of mediums. Nope, he comes across the line in P11 on a set of softs. So there we go. It's Nick Turn on pole with Hypers P2 and Beaker P3.
Very well done from it, Nick Turn. I mean, I gave him a little bit of stick earlier, saying that he struggled here in Japan. Last time I saw him in qualifying, he actually binned it. I mean, he set the fastest lap time anyway then, but still, regardless, he did end up binning it. Oh, there's a bit of contact, but that's all for nothing, really. So, yes, Nick Turn did a great job. Hypers did a really good job as well. I mean, he's still 0.6 between him and P1, but he is on a much slower compound. So, it's interesting. I want to see what Hypers can deliver at the start of the race. Is he going to lose any places at the beginning to those guys that are on super softs around him? I guess we're only going to wait and see, as the drivers now are prepping themselves for that beginning of the race.
I think one advantage that Nick Turn has over Hypers is he's going to have the better launch off the line. So that's really going to help him, but Hypers can manage his tyres a lot more as well. So let's just quickly go through your running orders. So we've got a Nick Turn on pole with Hypers in second, only by 5/10, so he wasn't able to improve. Obviously, he was on the softs. If he was on the supers, he would have probably got pole quite easily there due to his really fast lap time on the softs. And then followed by, we've got Beaker in fourth, Hazard, not a bad lap from him, in fourth, third in fifth, I7 in sixth, we've got Dukes in seventh, we've got Jonty in eighth, Dennis in ninth, and Lemon rounding up your top 10. And then we've got Brownie, Spicy, Dirtlab, and Copy. They'll have free choice of tyres. And I can almost say that most of them will go on either the softs or the mediums if they haven't already, if they want to go on fresh tyres. But looking forward to this race. It's going to be a lot of action. And who's going to get the better start, we'll just have to find out. Will Brownie keep up his consistency and make his way up the field like he did last week? Or will his mistakes falter? We'll just have to find out.
We will indeed. So all the drivers are on the track. You can see them there just in the corner of the screen. They are thinking about their race strategy. And those, like you just said, outside of the top 10, they've got the opportunity now to choose the tyre that they want to go for. I think most of the drivers will be choosing the medium compound. You may get the odd couple that go into the softs. Again, remember, the softs to supers is a strategy you can do, but it is difficult. And if it looked like you were struggling in the qualifying, you probably don't want to try to do it. Starting on the mediums is your safer bet, because it means you can use that tyre to go quite a long distance whilst your car is super heavy. And then when you get to your second stint, where you go into the super softs, you'll be on a much lighter car, you'll have a lot less fuel, the track will be much more evolved, and you'll be able to chuck down a hell of a lot more pace. And here we go with the formation lap. So, Jess, you gave me a prediction for qualifying. What's your prediction for the race?
I think it's a more tough one than qualifying, because Nick Turn produced a great qualifying lap, but you know his supers are going to start to die, and you know Hypers is going to be quit. I did put in for the win originally, but I'm gonna say Hypers for the win. I'm going to say Nick Turn P2, and I'm going to put, I think it's between either Z or I7, but I think I'm going to put I7 in there, mainly because they're on a similar strategy to Hypers and they can make it work.
Yeah, that's a fair shout. I think for the most part, I agree with you. I agree with the Hypers being P1. He's got the perfect strategy, and obviously the pace with that soft tyre was really crucial to his success in qualifying. I think he will take the race win. I think that Nick Turn will be there with him in P2. P3, though, I just can't look away from Captain Consistency himself, Hazard. He is, on this track in particular, he's really good at keeping it clean. He's really good at keeping out of trouble, and his pace is not bad here. He's actually able to compete with those around him that you can see right now. Whenever you see Hazard qualify in the top 5, you can almost guarantee he's going to be on the podium coming to the race. Now, I have seen a bit of weakness from Hazard lately. I have seen him get the occasional penalty, which is out of his character in general. He was always someone you could rely on to just have the cleanest streak out of anybody. And I want to see him get the podium again today, which is why I've put him in my prediction. I'm just a little bit nervous that he's not going to keep it completely clean and may get a penalty or two due to corner cutting. But all the drivers are bringing themselves into the grid boxes. We're just waiting for Copy, who did start dead last. He's slowly pulling in here. Had a major issue in qualifying. I'm not sure exactly what happened, but he's going to have the biggest challenge today, starting from the back of the grid. Needing to pull himself together, but now everybody is in. The lights are starting to go on, and when they go out, we're going to see the foot get planted, and it's going to be start of the Japanese Grand Prix. Here we go. A beautiful start there from Nickturn. There's Hypers coming along at him too. Beaker's trying to get there, but he's not going to be able to really make a move on him as they are side by side going into turn one. He's got a better drive out of it, but Hypers has the inside line. Beaker's just going to have to sit tight and just pray that he can make a mistake, and he's not done it so far. Hazard is right on the gearbox of Beaker. That's all going to take, one little mistake from Beaker, and he'll be able to pass him pretty swiftly. The soft runners of Zerd and i7 are right there too. They're also breathing down the neck of Hazard. We've had a little bit of a switcheroo with Yonti and Dennis. I think there was an illegal overtake because Yonti just backed right off to let Dennis back through again, and that's bringing Lemon to go for a move down the inside. He's not going to be able to pull it off. He has to back out too. Cars running wide, left, right and centre. Everybody's still safe, and amazingly, we've not had any contact so far in this race.
That is amazing. That is a shock to see, because usually we've seen in the likes of the 1989, especially Grand Prix 1988, with the good old Senna versus Frost rivalry, we saw carnage, but not on this race. They want to keep it clean, but they're the fastest drivers on the grid anyway. So of course they're going to keep it together, and they wanted to keep it conservative for the first lap and then try out possible moves in the second lap. We've got some very spicy moves coming up already. As we see right up in front, Dennis and the Force India having a little bit of a go already, going into 130 hours as well, but Dennis keeping it cooler, staying where he is. Always going to try around the outside, couldn't make it work at this stage as he is going towards the start finish straight. You can see Jonty already breathing on his neck as well, as Jonty's going to get some slipstream. He's going to take the outside into turn one. Is he going to make it stick? Dennis holds on to the inside line, and he's gone a bit wide again as Jonty, a great line control from him as he gets P8 for now. He's also got Lemon on the soft strategy as well, as he's right on the back of him as well with the two Renaults. The Renaults are going to get advantage to the turn as well. Jonty gets P8 from Dennis. Great start from him. Wow, this midfield battle is going to be very spicy towards this race, and I'm looking forward to it.
It is indeed. I mean, I got myself a little bit muddled up at the beginning. I thought that Jonty was behind Dennis, overtook him, and then gave him the position back. In actual fact, earlier on in the lap, it was actually Dennis who made the pass on Jonty. So good stuff from him. All that Jonty did there was just put him back to where he was before. And so far, the only change that's happened is Copy has actually passed Jaroslav. So he's making his charge back through the grid to try and make things happen. There is a little change going up ahead as well, as Zerd and Hazard are having a good old scrap. And again, i7 just breathing down their necks. Not yet got DRS, and we only have one DRS straight. Remember, that is the home straight. There's no DRS section here, but slipstream is such a huge factor when it comes to F1 2018. So going down 180, actually he's going for a massive lunge there from i7. He got straight into the side of Hazard. That was a very big mistake, and he's actually rotated the car completely round. Was that Jonty? No, it wasn't. It was i7. Yeah, I thought I got myself all muddled up there, but no, it was definitely i7. Huge lunge trying to get a pass there on Zerd. He ended up hitting the side of Hazard. Hazard actually gets away cleanly. Didn't have any damage on his car at all, but that has now brought Zerd into this battle a little bit closer, as Hazard would have felt a huge wallop, and i7 drops all the way down to P11.
Yes, tyre wear is a big factor in Japan, and we just noticed that from i7, but luckily he's not on the super soft tyres anyway, so that's not going to have huge detriment to his race, but he's probably going to have to pit earlier than the rest of the soft runners, so that's going to possibly ruin his chance a little bit. But we have seen some of these races where people have made a comeback anyway. But Zerd is absolutely flying on the back of Hazard right now. He's been matching pace pretty much this whole lap as well. And you can also see Beaker right in front as well, he's quite comfortably in P2, but not quite enough as well. But we've also got a battle for the lead as well between Hypers and Nickturn. Hypers is catching. We are going to get to a point in about 5 or 6 laps time where the supers are going to start to die. Will Hypers wait for that moment to try and overtake when Nickturn's tyres start to die? Or will he challenge for the move now? Knowing him, he could probably challenge for the move now, and he can probably overtake him. but there are two very quick drivers. We'll just have to find out as well. And not much position changes, as we said, as Hazard is closing up to Beaker pretty much on that lap. So that slipstream really had effect as well. And Hypers is on the chart. He set the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. He's gonna make the move sooner or later. I'm sure he will, but not quite yet. He's just gonna wait for that perfect opportunity.
He will indeed. Now i7, there was a fair bit of scrapping happening on that last lap. Dennis lost a place to Lemon. Now i7's trying to make a move down the inside of Dennis. Dennis gets sent wide as a result of a little bit of contact there. There was nowhere for him to go. Gets a penalty as a result of it. I think that will go to the stewards and probably be eradicated. That wasn't really fair on Dennis to absorb that penalty. We'll see if that gets agreed upon. But however, Dennis lost out 2 places there due to that little runoff from the contact. So he's lost out to i7 and Brownie both claiming a place there. i7 will be, sorry, Dennis will be livid in that situation, so he'll be trying to pull it back. But Zerd here, look for a move down on the inside of the hairpin on Hazard. He's going to be alongside of him. Hazard's managed to do well to defend it, but he has got the inside line for the next corner, which does mean now that it's going to be all he can do is just protect himself. Look for the inside line and defend it. Don't let Zerd come round you, especially in Spoon. There's no real opportunity for him to take that pass unless Hazard runs wide. Zerd cannot make it happen. Hazard now, he's going to have to flick himself up into the overtake mode to protect himself. Again, there's no DRS, but Slipstream is so huge here, and you can see Zerd does not want to make a pass there. It's just too tight. Too much aerodynamic pressure required on the car, but he has now got the gap right down. Look how close he is. DRS right here. Slipstream in overtake mode. Hazard goes super defensive already. He's trying to protect himself, but I think he knows there's nothing I can do here. Zerd is going to come down the inside. It's going to be a really tough braking zone for turn 1 as they are not yet touching this contact. There goes Hazard. He's losing the back end. He's gone. That was just a bit too much from Zerd. Hazard tried to just squeeze him to the inside. Zerd had nowhere else to go. Dennis has unfortunately DNF'd from the session. Whether that was through choice or a mistake, we will not know. However, Hazard does get involved in contact with Zerd, and as a result he gets sent down the pack. Whose fault was that? Unsure, but we do have a virtual safety car.
That's really going to help the Supersoft runners with the virtual safety car, which means they can stretch their Supersoft stint for a bit longer. So that's going to benefit the likes of Nickturn and Beaker as well, who are Beaker struggling on tyre wear. Beaker's going to be absolutely relieved that that virtual safety car is happening, which means he can stretch it, try and catch up to the soft runners as well. But the soft runners, their tyres will start to get a little bit cold, so those soft runners will be hoping that the virtual safety car ends soon, because otherwise it's going to be hard to warm them back up again. But that's going to really close the gap between Nickturn and Hypers for the battle for the lead as well. But Hazard, he was consistent at the start of this race, but I think he was one of those ones who he's dropped the field, and it wasn't his fault this time. Zerd really didn't help there, and that's cost him. As the restart is happening and DRS is back enabled, we are back racing again.
Yeah, unfortunately, he is chasing i7, who he saw earlier had a huge dive, actually right on this corner coming up here. Went into the side of Hazard. Oh, I thought Hazard was going to repay the favour there, but no, he didn't. It is staying the way it is right now. We need to look at the front runners, though, because there goes the Nickturn. He's ran wide. Here comes Hypers now up into race lead position on the key strategy. So now Hypers is able to be set free and just run wild like the little gazelle he is around the track of Suzuka. It's beautiful stuff to see Hypers doing such a good job, and now I want to see him just carry this out to the end as Zerd is closing up on Beaker, and slightly downfield you have Lemon right there on Yonti. As we come through the S's, Yonti's tyres are really starting to disappear from him now. You can see the Supersofts are really crumbling now, and there's Lemon trying to make a pass. It isn't going to happen, and we are going to have to wait just a little bit longer for an overtake to happen.
Indeed, the Supersoft tyres do last to around about lap 8 and 9, so we are starting to go into the middle of the window where they are starting to struggle, those Supersoft tyres. So i7 and Lemon are going to try and attack quite easily. i7 almost hit to the back of Lemon there, but luckily no damage done, and they're able to continue racing as well. Hazard really needs to get back to contention ASAP, because he's on the Supersoft tyres, and that's really not going to help him if he keeps battling cars.
Zed though, he's right on the back of Beaker. Beaker's in trouble. He's trying to go defensive going into the final chicane. And he's held it. Good stuff from Beaker. I think Beaker might be in this lap. I think he'd be very ambitious to go any further. No, he's staying out. Oh, I think he was actually going for the pits. Or at least faking it to try and make Zerd make a mistake or not. But now, DRS and Slipstream. Here comes a very flying Zerd. Up now into P3. Position gain for him, and I think we're about to see the same thing a little bit further down pack as Lemon is trying to make a move down the inside of Yonti. Last time we saw this was Hazard and Zerd. There was contact between the two of them, and Hazard lost out, and that's the same sort of situation for Yonti. Yonti's lost out massively again. When you go side by side into turn 1, because of how difficult it is to do even in time trial sort of situation, it's, you know, when you go side by side, you're reliant on the other driver not making a mistake. Otherwise they'll just run you wide, and you know, ideally you want to be on the inside line. It worked out for Zerd both occasions, although we may hear a steward's inquiry later.
I think we've already got a few stewards' inquiries already, so the stewards are going to be very busy after this race, I must say, if it keeps going on like this. But as you were saying, turn 1, 2 or 3 wide, and the super softs do not mix. And I don't know what these drivers are thinking, but they really got to get their act together and make sure they don't challenge for the move just yet. Their tyres are starting to die. They know that they are starting to go into the 40-50% window, so maybe they could possibly try and challenge in the pit window as well. Meanwhile, at the back, we've got the McLaren of Juslav right to the back of Yonti now, so Yonti is struggling a little bit on those tyres. So that's going to cost him. And we got Lemon and I7 as well. We got 3 wide going into 130R. As we got the Force India of Dupes are going around the outside into Casio Triangle. Almost hit each other. And it looks like there is a little bit of contact. But it looks like the Force... Oh, there's contact again. Oh, we got Hazard and is being collected. So is the Renault and the Sauber as well. Almost 5 wide. It looks like... Look at that McLaren, though. He's able to gain advantage, and he's gained quite a few positions after that crash. So the one that's gained advantage there is McLaren of Juslav, and the Force India has retired from the session there. And there's another yellow flag that Brownie has just ignored. So he's getting there, and Brownie lost it. He's lost his front wing. Oh, that's not going to help him. I think it looks like he's had enough by the looks of things, as he's not trying to reverse the car or anything, and he's ghosted. So he probably has to go into the pits, and looks like he has given up. Yonti's gone into the pits as well. He's gone onto a set of mediums. I'm sure that's going to go to the end of the race as well. So yeah, that was very chaotic, that lap. But it just goes to show supers are starting to die, and the medium runners are really starting to push, and so are the soft runners as well.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, that was a lot of scrapping. I mean, there was a lot of situations there where I think that's, you know, that's really putting yourself in a position where you're going to get yourself penalised due to all this contact. I mean, I'm not quite sure who was more at fault than who. There was a lot of inside moves, Ajibaji, elbows out, handbags thrown, and I think Hazard again getting caught up in the situation another time. I mean, we're seeing now copy on Hazard. This is again another corner where if you go side by side, you're reliant on the driver not hitting you out. Hazard doesn't want any of it. He backs out and says, look, I've had enough contact so far this race. I haven't yet got a penalty as a result of it. I don't think he's got damage. No, he hasn't. He's going good still. But he is on the supers. He is going to need to change the tyre. And medium to compound is going to come out, I reckon. Yep, it is. So Hazard going now to the end of the race on the hardest stint. And I think the soft runners might actually struggle when they get onto those supers.
Yeah, I won't be surprised. The advantage of going on the soft tyres is they have the freedom to decide which tyres they go on the next stint. If they feel like their softs are struggling, maybe mediums might be the best option. It is an advantage like that. But it's not like Italy. Italy, you can do soft to supers or supers to soft and pull it off well. Whereas Japan, because of the tricky S section and also like Spoon and 130R, that's probably not the track to do it unless you're a really fast driver. As Brownie has retired, yes, as we thought we would, he's given up and he's no longer taking part of this Grand Prix, which is a shame. He got a good result last time about as well. As I think Nick Turn is not that far behind his teammate, 1.7 seconds. So possibly Copy's going to let Nick Turn through, possibly get the turret as well to try and fend off the charging McLaren of Juslav, who's having a very good race so far. Let's just see how many positions he's gained. He's gained 6 positions, the most out of all the field as well. So great stuff from Juslav as well. As we've got Hypers into the pits then, and looks like it's going to be a set of mediums. Yes, it is. I don't think it's going to go on the supers any day of any week, as it'll be interesting to see where he comes ahead of Nick Turn. It'll be crucial to get right. Where's Nickturn on the track? He's going towards the start, finish straight. Hypers goes through turn 1, and Hypers comes really ahead of Nickturn. So Hypers really benefited from that soft strategy. So the soft to mediums looks like it's the winning strategy at the moment.
Beaker's out. Beaker's out of the race. Not sure what's happened there, but he's out of the race. Yellow flag in Sector 2. I mean, you know, he didn't have a particularly great first stint, and he didn't look like he had a great second stint if he's DNF'd already. But yeah, just going back to what you were saying about position changes. Copy, he started dead last. He's claimed so many places. He's up in a P5, and that is really good stuff from him. Obviously, we've seen a lot of people, unfortunately, DNF from the server. So as long as all of the drivers that are on track right now finish the race, then everyone will gain points. However, the way that this race has been going so far, we've seen a lot of argy-bargy, and I think we might be seeing a fair few more DNFs as the race goes on. This is a difficult track, remember. That's one of the reasons it's such a legendary track. And we do have Lemon closing down I7.
Yes, going towards 1/3 TR now, as I do believe both of these guys have not pitted and they're on the soft tyres. So maybe the soft tyres may start to degrade pretty soon. So we saw the likes of Hypers going to the pits. We've got Zerd into the pits as well. Where we come through in front of Hypers, we'll have to wait and see. But let's just stay on board with Lemon and I7 going towards the start, finish straight then. As Lemon is going to get the DRS, but he's not going to have quite advantage. Maybe he's going to take the inside line. I7 has got to be more cautious going through the outside line. Almost a bit of contact there. But this time he kept it much cleaner and he gets moved done on Lemon there. Crucial going into the pit stop window. Meanwhile, Zed goes into P7, which is not a bad position for him. But crucially, he's ahead of the likes of Haddad as well. So he's on for a good points finish if he keeps it up. But he's got to be keeping more tidy. Don't forget, there is Shear's inquiries pending, so he could lose a bit more position. He's dropping to the last right now, but there's still quite a few soft runners still to pit, so we don't know where Zerd is going to be ahead of the pack. Zerd is out.
He's stuck in the pit lane. Like, he can't get out. The game has bugged him out. He stays P10. He's out of the race. That is so unfortunate for that situation to be on. However, he is unfortunately out of the race, so we do need to look a little bit further at the field, as Lemon was chasing I7. I7 has torn past him, and off he goes, leading the race at the minute. 10 laps in on these softs is quite surprising, actually, that they've managed to get the race win. Sorry, the race lead already. But again, remember all the situation that's happened. Hazard's still looking set to take some places. I've seen some penalties already. I'm told that Lemon has actually had a 5-second stop-go penalty for Cornico, and there it goes. They're both in. Okay, brilliant. So now it's going to be a battle of who's got the better pit crew. Ooh. Major issue there, speeding in the pit lane, and Lemon's retired. He got caught out by I7. He's trying to pass him. Made a mistake. That rear left wheel has disappeared from his car. He's out of the Grand Prix now. He was like net P2. He was ready to go, and he just made a huge mistake into the wall, and off he goes now. That is him out of the race. Oh, that is disastrous, and we are going to have to look around the field now. So we are now down to 8 drivers of the race. So, oh, there's a little switcheroo. Copy giving the position to Nickturn. Says my tyres are a little bit worn, so you're going to have to just run free.
Yes, and it wasn't just the likes of Zer that got held up in the pits. Beaker actually got held up in the pits for exactly the same issue. So I think that was probably why he had to retire as well. So really, in Japan, I don't know why they get holed up on this game like this. Hopefully it will get fixed for F1 2019. But that was what Beaker was experiencing, and that was probably why that he had a bit of an issue there. So very unfortunate with Beaker and Zerd to be held up in the pits like that. Lemon, it was very unfortunate for him to be caught up in that little incident in the pit lane. But too wide in the pit lane does not mix, and that's where you end up in situations like this as well. So yeah, I am quite surprised that, well, actually not that surprised that we had so many DNF, but this many is quite a lot on this track, so fingers crossed.
Yeah, oh, there's I7 getting a 3-second time penalty. That's not going to help his cause, trying to get himself up the positions and gain some points. Hypers is still race leading as he sets the fastest lap with a 1:30.337, so good time from him. Just looking around the track to see if anyone actually has a chance of closing in on anybody. I think Jerislav's obviously in the pits now, so he's going to fall down a couple of places. providing that he doesn't get stuck in the pits. We have seen 2 drivers so far get stuck in there, Beaker and obviously Zerd as well. It's looking okay for Jurislav.
Oh.
Yes, he's out. Okay, we're good.
That was close.
Panic over. It was just a little bit of a stutter there. So Jurislav will comes out last of the running drivers. P8 for him at the minute. Pace, the gaps are pretty far apart now. So it's now going to be just tyre management and just going to be try your best to keep going. Copy is the closest driver with a 2.2 second gap on his teammate. And that is going to get bigger and bigger as a Nickturn is on much fresher tyres. And his life is looking pretty good.
Yeah, Nickturn, he's on older tyres than Hypers though, so it's going to be hard to try and catch up to him. So I think his main focus really is to try and be penalty free and make sure you get clear of second place, pretty much. But Copy's been on those tyres for quite a bit, 12 laps. He may be doing the gamble, he may be doing the super soft strategy, but only time will tell. We don't know what the drivers do on this game. That's the advantage of the mixed strategy. The tyres, a definite one-stop strategy here today. Or you might do the 2-stop. It is too close to call. Hypers once again just showing that the mediums are starting to really improve their pace a little bit. Copy out again. So he could be in for a surprise here. You never know. Zhislav is last at the moment, but he is going to start closing in onto the medium runners who start to die pretty soon as well. So the likes of Jonty may be under threat as well, but if the other guys keep it consistent, they could be on some good points as long as they don't hit it in the wall.
So we need to look around at Copy's strategy. I think Copy is going for the softs to super softs. There's no way he would have gone this long on softs without switching to the mediums if he was going to do a soft to medium strategy. So I think we've got to keep an eye out for that because he's really going to be playing the long game for the first stint and then the absolute tear it for the second stint. So I mean, he's 10 seconds off race lead in the minute. It's around about a 21-second pit stop here, which then, if you work it out, he does still fall down the order quite considerably. He will end up being dead last, but only slightly, and the gap itself isn't actually too bad. He just needs to make sure when he goes on the super softs that he doesn't chuck the tyres in the bin. He's struggling on the softs right now for pace, but he does have a lot of ERS available to use. So I'm not sure how he's going to generate more pace throughout this point, but he is going to need to do a hell of a lot to get himself up further up the grid and looking for a podium position, as Hypers doesn't seem to be slowing down anytime soon.
No, he's doing well for himself recently, isn't he? He recently got signed to a top esports team who have made a name for themselves due to how quick he is driving. I've seen him drive from the very beginning. At the start of F1 2017 and 2018, he had a few penalties. He was pretty much inconsistent at times and caused a little bit of incidents. But now I've really seen a change in Hypers. He really wanted to be very, very clean and wanted to make a new name for himself. And that is what he's doing. He's up front in there, putting up some great results week after week in all the leagues that he's in, and that's why Veloce have noticed its improvement. And imagine what the improvement is going to be like when they start training him up a little bit more as well. So I've definitely noticed a change in Hypers in between game cycles, which is very good to see. And we've seen other people in other leagues, which I'm not going to name, who I've seen similar improvement as well. So he's only 13 now, so I can. Who knows what he's going to be like when he turns 60, when he gets to qualify for F1 esports, I must say. So he's doing a great job at the moment.
He really is. It's scary to think about how fast he is right now, and he's only going to improve. You know, the scientists say that you are at peak learning, as in you can learn the quickest when you reach around about 25 years old. He's 13. If he's 13 driving this quickly, he's got another 12 years of his life where he'll be at peak then mentally. You know, that is just insane to see what he's going to be able to achieve. He's definitely a name you need to keep an eye out for many years to come in racing in general, depending on what he chooses to do with his life. I mean, looking at it, I think he's already made his mind up. His pace is just next level. Looking around the field, though, we need to look at the likes of it. Nickturn. He's somebody else who's very quick, very consistent, and for the most part, is someone you can rely on to take race wins, at least podiums. Today, he's set now for a P2 situation, and looking at everyone else around him, The gaps are just so big. The other person who's really in a position to be able to close it in is i7, but if you look at the gap between him and Nickton, it's quite a lot. I don't see i7 being able to close in on Nickton at any time soon. You'll get a podium, looking at the state of it. Obviously, that's before any stewards get involved in anything. Copy, though, I'm a little bit sad for him. He made a mistake in qualifying, I believe. At least he didn't get to put a time in, that's for sure. He fell right down to dead last. He's done a really good job to bring himself up, though. If you look at the position changes, he's claimed 11 places. Granted, we have lost 7 drivers. 6 drivers, sorry, can't count. But, you know, it's still good stuff from him to be able to climb those places and take those positions physically on track. I'm very sad but proud of him.
Yeah, guide for his qualifying pace, but his race pace has been really, really good. The advantage that he's had is he hasn't had much battle, so he's been able to conserve his tyres, and I think that's why he's going on for very long. He's going into the pits now. Question is he going for the mediums or the supers? I won't be surprised if he goes supers, to be honest, as he's going to go into the pit wall pretty soon. Yes, he goes into the south. It's right at the end of the pit lane, so it's a long run to the line. And yes, it is the red super soft tyres, and that is going to be quite interesting to see if he can catch up to the likes of Hazard, where their mediums will start to die towards the end. But it's 10 laps. The super softs last about 9 laps. It's going to be close, but to be honest, he's a guy that can possibly do it, and if he does it, that will be a very good result for him, as he's already closing in onto Jonty and the Haas.
He is, and now we need to keep full eyes locked on Copy. So the fastest tyre by miles in comparison to the other drivers. Spicy is obviously just pitted as well. He's come out P8 as he's gone onto the softs, but he's quite the way back. So whether or not he's going to be able to close in on Jurislav, I don't know. Spicy is a quick driver. You can rely on him for that. Whether or not he's going to be able to make passes up to Jonty, maybe, I don't know. We'll keep an eye out. But Copy, he's looking dead set now on closing it in. I think he'll get to P4 at most, as you know, looking at the gap between Hazard and i7, it's 12-13 seconds now. So it's a bit too much to ask in my opinion. Keep an eye out though, he's going to be able to deliver it. You can already see Jonty in his sights there. And it's a shame we're not riding on board with him in the cockpit cam, because you can get a really good feel for how much he's just locked on to that driver, trying to tear up after him. And we all know that cockpit cam is OP.
Yeah, you can see he is focused on the task in hand. He just wants to make sure that he can draw it in and catch up to the guys ahead of him. And he's got some battles. He hasn't had battles to begin with, but he's got a battle on his hands right now. And I've seen the benefit of having supers towards the end in Italy as well, because you're able to push so hard, go to the end and try and capitalise on the mistakes, and that's what Copy is trying to do. Jonty is pushing as well on those 10-lap used mediums. I have seen people go on to those mediums for 25 laps, but they get punches. But luckily, we're not going to see anything that extravagant here, so all the guys on the medium tyres are going to make it to the end. But Copy's on a fly right now. He's gonna head into DRS territory pretty soon.
He will indeed. Okay, so Copy closing up 1.2 seconds. Jonty not really gaining anything on the driver in front. He's 10 laps in on those mediums. He's just managing the pace. But now he's going to be looking in his mirrors and seeing a very quick Sauber chasing him down. Jonty's now in a position where he's got to try and think about the long game. He knows that Copy is fast. He knows that Copy's going to be pressuring him non-stop. The question is, though, should I try and defend it? No, is the honest answer. You shouldn't. And the reason being is that Copy is going to be faster no matter what. You want to try and use as much pace that Copy can give you by slipstreaming, DRS, whatever, to bring yourself up there to Hazard just a touch. If Hazard does make a mistake or make a penalty, then you will capitalise on that and gain from that. I think Jonty has penalties already, so realistically the best that Jonty can hope for is P5. But anything can happen. Hazard could not be captain consistency for a minute. And that will give Jonty the opportunity to close in, as here comes Copy. Very simple overtake. DRS slipstream past him. And up he goes now into P5, lining himself up for Hazard.
Yeah, and I won't be surprised if he does get through Hazard as well. So, speaking of penalties, actually, I just had a quick look at some of the guys up front. Hyper has got 2 warnings, but the main warnings he's got was during his first stint when he was on the softs. So he's got to be careful to not get any more. Nickton's got 2 warnings. I7, we've seen him get a few penalties there, so it could be a chance for Copy to gain a few more positions. Hazard's got one. Let me just look at Copy. Oh, he's got 3 warnings. He's on his last shots pretty much. If he makes one bit mistake, he'll get a penalty. But Jonty might be under threat soon because Jonty only got 1 warning at the start of lap 1, but apart from that, he's been clean non-stop. And just like in the McLaren, I've looked at these penalties. I couldn't see any. No penalties, no warnings. So the McLaren driver could be under threat as well.
It's good stuff to see that this is the situation right now. I mean, from physical cars on track right now, it's pretty boring, if we were honest. Looking at the situation, it's so spread out. But there's still a lot to look at. If you look a little bit deeper into it, the tyre conservation is the main thing. Copy's really got to worry about that tyre conservation because he's on the super soft tyre. We saw the tyres start to fall away around about 8 or 9 laps, and it became really difficult to manage. Copy took the softs much further than any other driver attempted to even do here, and he's the only driver today who's actually tried the soft to super strategy. And to start from dead last and be up right now in P5, that's a really good showing. It's a really good performance from him to be able to deliver that. The question is, though, is he pushing too hard now? I've just seen him set the fastest lap time. That's brilliant. But I just feel like he's taking too much life out of the tyre. And I feel when it comes to around about lap 25, 26, I think we're going to see a very struggling Copy.
Yes, because the last few laps, every single lap, he's either been beaten his personal best in each one of the sectors. Whereas the first sector, he smashed the first sector in the last lap. He just did a 32.6 with his fast one. But it wasn't, I don't think it was the fastest sector 1 of the session. And then he improved on his sector 2 around about lap 17. So he is not being fast in all the sectors pretty much for the whole lap. So he is pushing, but not as much. Because otherwise he'll be pretty much green in all sectors, or possibly purple as well. So he's got to keep it together. That's probably why he's not closing up to Hazard too much. He's probably getting told by his engineer to just keep it steady for now. He knows that possibly Jonty may not try and close up to him. As long as he doesn't get another penalty, he should be fine.
He should indeed. So the gap has been brought. Ooh, okay. I mean, it's still a bit ambitious to get excited about it right now. It is still only a 3-second time penalty, but it is showing signs of weakness in Nick Turn's drive. Now, he'll obviously take that on board. He'll try and learn from that and try and make sure he doesn't do that mistake again, because i7 is a quick driver, and he will be able to close that gap in if he gets told there's an opportunity for it. He's 3 laps younger on those medium tyres than at Nick Turn, so you know the tyre grip is there. He's got a lot he can chuck away in comparison to what Nick Turn's on, but if a Nick Turn's showing struggling now, I think we're going to see another 3-second time penalty. We might even see him get a penalty on the final chicane, which, as we know, the game punishes pretty harshly there. If you cut it, you quite often get a 5-second stop-go penalty as a result, so he's going to have to watch out for it. But the main battle to keep your eye on right now is Copy and Hazard. The gap is closing down, 2.6 seconds with 5 laps left to go. It's likely he's going to pass him. I think it's going to be too much to expect him to catch i7, but if i7 has penalties, Copy might take it.
Yeah, i7 has got a few penalties. I'll check once again towards the end of the race to see how that will benefit Copy's race so far, as it's now down to 2.7. He might be pushing a little bit too much, but he may ease off towards the end of the last couple of laps to make sure he can get those tyres to the end. I think what Copy is hoping for, there is either a safety car or virtual safety car, just like at the beginning of this race, just so he can stretch his tyres a little bit more. So I think Copy's the man to watch out for as well. Spicy, another guy who's not on the medium tyres. He's not closing up to Juzlab as he would have liked. He's on the soft tyres for 5 laps. Because I think Juzlab he's got no warnings or no penalties as well. It's been completely clean. So Spicy's not having the best of races on those soft tyres to try and catch up to him. But I think Copy could be with a chance, but we don't know. We're on lap 22 and lap 27 now. Positions pretty much are not going to change unless we can see Copy start to move anytime soon. Let us know your predictions in the chat if we go towards the end of this Grand Prix. So far we lost about 6 DNS already in Japan, and that is quite a lot. and I think the majority of them is due to pit lane incidents, apart from I think Dennis and the Force India and Brownie as well. So I think mainly Lemon's Beaker was mainly due to pit lane incidents or bugs, which is a bit unfortunate. But Copy now down to 2.3 seconds. He's breathing on the net right now, but it's going to get to a stage where the tires will start to die, and we don't really want to see a punch from him. So we are all biting our breath to see if he can do it.
Well, you also have to keep an eye out for Hazard. So what he's been doing, and the reason why the gap hasn't shrank as much as we would expect, is because Hazard has been deploying a hell of a lot of fuel and also a hell of a lot of VRS. He's currently sat at around 18-19%, and that's after the braking zone going into turn 1. Granted, it's a trail braking zone, so you don't necessarily brake that hard, but it's still a slow area of the track, whereas if you look at Copy, he is more than 3 times the amount that Hazard has got. So it's just a matter of time. It's already breaking down a little bit, 2 seconds, and whilst he's in this S section, the extra grip that Copy's got on these super softs means he can take it so much faster than Hazard, and that's why you're seeing the time just tumbling away, despite the fact that Hazard is deploying as much as he can. And Hazard, he can tell he's feeling the pressure, feeling the struggle now, and I think this is Copy's. I think he's going to take it.
Yep, I think it is, and that's going to be a very good result for him. And Hypers, whoa, another fastest lap for him, a 1:29.4 on the set of the medium compound tyres. He's 10 seconds behind Nick Turn, and he's still pushing. That shows how fast he is. He wants to get. He didn't get the hat tricks, obviously he didn't get pole, but he wants to get fastest lap and the win as well, which is looking really likely. He hasn't got any penalties either, so he is flying. He wants to show to everyone, I am one of the best people on this game, and he could be a threat in F1 2019. It'll be amazing if we could see him in ERS next season, because if he is, he will definitely be a force to be reckoned with. I haven't seen him won as many championships. He obviously won some leagues recently, but from other leagues as well. We could see him take more championships anytime soon as well. With Copy, the gap now 1.6 seconds. He is starting to feel absolutely content with his tyres pretty soon, but importantly, he's going to go through the S section, and we're going to see how far he's going to take. And he takes that quite well, so he's not struggling as the other people were at the start of this race. But that is because a lot of people have been on the track already, and Copy was starting to learn other people's strategy, and he's not taking any chances. And if he knows he's not going to push, he's not pushing. And when he sees a chance to push, he will push. He's now almost in DRS territory, but not quite yet. So, but if he starts to try and make a move at some point, he's got to be careful not to take any penalties. He's on his last warning right now. If he gets another corner cut and warning, that's it. Yonti could be on his tail, but to be honest, I think he's quite comfortable anyway. So even if he gets a penalty, it's not going to affect him dearly.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the main thing. Copy now, he is still trying to close in on Hazard, but Hazard has done an incredible job. We have to take note of the fact that whilst Hazard is on these 15-lap all mediums, he has been tearing around the track to make sure the gap does not get to a 1-second gap, because Copy will close in. The other thing that Hazard has done is identified Copy's situation right now. I mean, that won't make a difference, but that's still crucial either way. Is that Copy is now at the point where the tyres will start to fall away. You'll start to see the tyres oversteer a fair bit. He has brought himself almost in the 1 second, but watch as Copy takes the S's. He's having to take it quite delicately. He can't overpower it too much. He's in mode 0 to make sure he doesn't spin the wheels at all. He is still closing in. There you go. You can see the back end just kicked out just a touch. Now he's trying to take a wide line. This is where you're going to see it more than anything. When he clips, look how delicately he took that corner. He doesn't want a chance losing the car and chucking himself in the gravel. He's just trying to deliver a decent lap time so he can close up on Hazard, try and take the position on the final lap potentially, or at least on the next one when he gets within that 1 second, if Hazard doesn't keep him at bay.
You can start to see the tyres are starting to wear out for Copy, so maybe it might be too little too late as we got yellow flags in sector 3. I'm just seeing who could it be, but I don't think it's anyone. I think it's someone probably getting blue flag or something like that, so I would ignore that. So we're going to be on the penultimate lap. We're on the penultimate lap right now as Hypers have just gone past the S section right now. Copy, he's probably need to start to conserve a little bit until he gets to the final lap. Hazard's got penalties in front of him, So Copy, I think, is just going to concentrate on his tyre wear more than anything else. Because if he starts to push and Hazard starts to gain, that's really going to cost him. Hazard will probably be told on his Jeff to push, knowing Hazard's got penalties and Copy doesn't. That is a very key factor for Copy right now to keep it clean. So if I was Copy, I would stay where I am to make sure to avoid getting a puncher and to possibly gain P4 from him, because I think that's the best he could be hoping for right now.
Yeah, and I think P4 is still a really good achievement. Starting dead last, claim 10 places to bring yourself up in P4. You can't complain to that at all. And he's obviously gone for the difficult strategy, which is the softs to the supers. You know, you've got to give him a hell of a lot of credit for him being in that situation. There is also a little battle actually starting to form further back. I think the yellow flag we saw earlier was actually Yonti, because he lost a lot of time to Copy. He was like 6.5 seconds behind him. Suddenly it jumped up to 13 seconds. So major mistake there from Yonti, showing a hell of a lot of weakness now. Spicy's also coming up to the back of this pack too, as the race leader has gone on to the final lap. No one has been lapped yet, so it is going to mean that these 8 drivers will need to do all 27 laps. And Copy's now almost within the 1 second. Hazard is going to be feeling the sweat and the pressure pouring onto him. Oh, big lock up there from Copy though. That will actually have helped out Hazard quite considerably. The tyres will have locked up enough to generate more heat, making it really difficult. And you'll see now, if he's going to make a mistake, Copy will make a mistake going into turn 1. Let's see if he can do it.
Yes, as he's going through the typical turn 1 now. He might conserve it now in the tricky S section, and then he'll probably start to push towards the end, as he's trying to do right now. I think he hasn't lost the back end as much here now. He's been told to keep it together and make sure he can get it to the end right now, and that is what he's doing. If I was running on the super softs to get to the end, I would be struggling right now, and that is what Copy isn't doing. He's finding his limit with his tyres, and if he's decided that he's not going to push, he's not going to push. But meanwhile, interestingly, the McLaren of Juslav is finding some pace, and he's trying to catch up to the troubling Jonty as well. But let's get enough of that. Hypers comes across the line. He takes the win here in Japan. A great result from him. Absolutely dominant pace pretty much all race. He overtook from Nick Turner early on, and that's what really helped in the soft to medium strategy. But meanwhile, let's see where Copy is on the track going through the long straight. I don't think he's going to do it. I think he's going to stay where he is. He's going to get P4, which is going to be absolutely amazing stuff for him. And he is not going to take any chances now. He doesn't want to gamble. He doesn't want to risk any penalties, because if he gets any penalties, that's really going to cost him a chance to get in P4 in this race. He's going to come across the line now. Haddon's going to take P4 on track. What about Copy? Oh, he's going to stay P5 then. So I don't think Haddon did get any penalties. My bad. I think Jonty Juslav is going to get onto the back of him, but it's not going to be quite enough either. So Johnny's going to get P6. But on track, maybe not. I didn't see where Juslav finished.
I think Spicy jumped. Oh no, Spicy
P7.
goes P8. Yeah, sorry, I thought Spicy jumped P6. I was looking at the wheel to see if he jumped up a couple of places, but no, he didn't. He doesn't. And Hypers, with the drive, absolutely nailed the qualifying, and he nailed the race. He didn't get P1 in the qualifying, but he did start on the harder compound, so it's no surprise that he wasn't P1. He did then manage to stretch it all the way to the end, takes the 25 points in his pocket, walks away with the Japanese Grand Prix, and it's obviously down to it Nick Turn to take him P2, and I7, you could argue controversially, but he does take P3. So as it stands, there's your podium. I'm just going to get a quick little rundown of the remainder of the drivers. So Hypers P1 and Nick 10 P2, I7 P3 with the Hazard in P4, Copy 5th, Yonti 6th, Durislav 7th, Spicy 8th, and then your DNFers were Lemon, Zerd, Beaker, Brownie, Duxby, and Dennis. Wow, what a Grand Prix that was. It was all at the beginning and the middle. There was a fair bit that didn't really happen towards the end, and then it got a little bit tense on the final couple of laps. But all ended beautifully for Hypers. And wow, there you go.
And I think it's the first time I actually got all the top 3 in the right order. So I'm quite happy with that. But driver of the day, I would have to give it to Copy. He started, even though he had a bad qualifying session, he gained quite a few positions from 14th. To get those softs to around about lap 17 and make it work And to not struggle on those super soft tyres, that is incredible. It was tough between Copy and Hypers, but I will have to give it to Copy. Hypers did get a penalty, I think, on the final lap, but that didn't cost him in anyway. So driver of the day has got to be Copy.
Yep, agreed. Well, that is it from us here at the European Racing Series. Thank you everybody who tuned in tonight. Thank you, Jess, for commentating alongside me, as my usual co-commentator is not very well, so he had to take a night off. Don't blame him. Rest up well, Amcasa. Hope you're okay. But for more European Racing Series action, we'll see you guys next week. I can't remember the track. I think it's Brazil. But either way, see you then. Except...